Oda Nobunaga of Japan, Louis XVI of France, Cleopatra VII of Egypt, Henry VI of England. The end of four conquerors. In the annals of English history, few monarchs have faced a reign as tumultuous and tragic as that of Henry VI of England. Born in 1421, Henry's life and rule would become profoundly entwined with the turbulent period known as the Wars of the Roses. Our story begins in 1422, when, as an infant, Henry ascended to the English throne following the death of his father, the illustrious Henry V. Little did anyone know, this marked the beginning of a turbulent era filled with political strife and power struggles. During his early years, England was effectively under the control of regents and ambitious nobles, each vying for influence over the young king. Henry VI's rule was marked by what many saw as weakness and an inability to assert effective authority over his realm. The Wars of the Roses, a bitter and bloody conflict between rival factions, the Lancastrians, Henry's house, and the Yorkists, erupted during his rule. Further destabilized England and plunged it into civil strife. Henry VI's reign was marred by periods of mental instability. Possibly indicative of underlying mental health challenges, this only added to the perception of his weakness as a ruler and contributed to the overall political instability and corruption of his era. In 1471, during the Wars of the Roses, Henry VI was captured by Yorkist forces led by Edward IV. He was taken as a prisoner and confined in the Tower of London, where his health and mental state deteriorated rapidly. It is during his imprisonment that the tragic tale takes its darkest turn. Most historical accounts suggest that Henry VI met his end while in captivity, likely murdered by agents of the Yorkist faction. The exact method of his murder remains shrouded in mystery. Henry VI's death marked the tragic end of a tumultuous reign and the Wars of the Roses. His demise serves as a somber chapter in English history, reflecting the brutality and political intrigue of the time. In the annals of history, Henry VI of England stands as a symbol of the challenges faced by a weak ruler in a time of strife. His life and reign are a testament to the enduring impact of political turmoil and the unyielding quest for power. In the midst of Japan's turbulent Sengoku period, one man emerged with an unyielding ambition to unify a fractured nation under his rule. This is the story of Oda Nobunaga, a formidable warlord whose life and legacy left an indelible mark on Japanese history. Born in 1534, Oda Nobunaga inherited leadership of the Oda clan at a young age, but it was his determination and strategic brilliance that set him on a path to change the course of Japanese history. Nobunaga faced a nation in chaos, where feudal lords known as daimyo vied for power in a never-ending cycle of conflict. What distinguished Nobunaga from his contemporaries was his embrace of modern military tactics and weaponry. He introduced firearms and innovative siege warfare techniques that allowed him to conquer territories previously thought impregnable. Nobunaga sought to dismantle the power of regional daimyo and centralize authority under his rule. But in 1582, during his campaign to unify Japan, Nobunaga faced a treacherous betrayal in what would become known as the Honnoji Incident. One of his own retainers, Akechi Mitsuhide, turned against him. Surrounded by enemies and facing certain capture, Nobunaga made a fateful decision. Rather than surrender to his foes or meet a dishonorable end, Oda Nobunaga chose to take his own life. He performed seppuku, a form of ritual suicide, as a testament to his unyielding spirit and commitment to his principles. Nobunaga's fiery demise marked a turning point in Japanese history, mirroring the complexity and turmoil of the Sengoku period. Although he did not live to see his vision fully realized, his efforts laid the groundwork for his successors, such as Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who would eventually achieve the unification of Japan. Oda Nobunaga's life and the manner of his death continue to be remembered and studied as an integral part of Japan's rich historical tapestry. His legacy as a relentless and ambitious warlord lives on, and his dramatic end remains a symbol of honor, sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of a man driven by an unparalleled ambition to unite a fractured nation. In the heart of ancient Alexandria, amidst the sands of time, lived a woman who would become one of history's most legendary figures. Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, was a woman of immense power, intellect, and influence. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC in the thriving city of Alexandria, Egypt. She hailed from the illustrious Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek lineage that ruled Egypt after the conquests of Alexander the Great. Cleopatra's ascent to the throne was far from ordinary. At a young age, she shared power with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. Their tumultuous relationship led to a fierce power struggle, forcing Cleopatra to flee Egypt briefly. In 48 BC, Cleopatra made a triumphant return to Egypt, thanks to a powerful ally, Julius Caesar, the renowned Roman general. Their alliance not only secured her grip on the Egyptian throne, but also led to the birth of a son, named Ptolemy XV Philopator Caesar, known as Caesarion. Tragedy struck in 44 BC when Julius Caesar was assassinated. Cleopatra's life took another dramatic turn as she forged an alliance with Mark Antony, a prominent Roman leader, both in love and politics. Cleopatra and Mark Antony's passionate love affair resulted in 3 children and a formidable political partnership. However, this union would ultimately lead to a collision course with Octavian, later known as Augustus, the first Roman emperor. The year was 31 BC, and the fate of Egypt hung in the balance. The Battle of Actium was waged at sea, pitting the forces of Cleopatra and Mark Antony against Octavian. In the end, Octavian emerged victorious, marking a turning point in history. As their forces crumbled, Cleopatra and Mark Antony faced a bleak future. Rather than endure the humiliation of capture, they chose a tragic end. The most widely accepted account of Cleopatra's death is both dramatic and poignant. She is believed to have used the venomous bite of an asp, a deadly snake, to end her life. History suggests she concealed the asp either in a basket of figs or on her person. As capture by Octavian's forces seemed inevitable, Cleopatra allowed the serpent to bite her, bringing an end to her life. Cleopatra's act of self-inflicted death was an assertion of her control over destiny, sparing her the ignominy of being paraded through Rome as a captive. With her death, the curtain fell on the Ptolemaic dynasty, and Egypt was absorbed into the Roman Empire as a province. Her story, filled with intrigue, love, and tragedy, continues to captivate and inspire generations, a testament to the enduring power of one remarkable woman. In the annals of history, few monarchs have faced the trials and tribulations that marked the life of Louis XVI of France. Born Louis Auguste on August 23, 1754, he was destined for a life of grandeur and monarchy from his very birth. As a young prince, Louis XVI received a thorough education, preparing him for the responsibilities that lay ahead. His early years were marked by obscurity, but this changed in 1770, when he married Marie Antoinette, Archduchess of Austria, sealing a significant alliance between the two powerful nations. In 1774, upon the death of his grandfather, Louis XVI ascended the throne of France at the age of 20. At the outset, his reign was greeted with hope and optimism. However, he inherited a kingdom grappling with deep financial troubles, exacerbated by France's support for the American Revolution. Louis faced the daunting task of managing a kingdom teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. One of his initial successes was the appointment of Charles Alexandre de Calonne as Controller General of Finances, who proposed a series of reforms aimed at alleviating France's financial woes. However, Louis XVI's hesitation to fully implement these changes hindered their effectiveness. Despite his genuine concern for his people's welfare, his indecision would come to define his reign. The beginning of the end for Louis XVI came with the eruption of the French Revolution in 1789. The storming of the Bastille marked a turning point, signaling the people's desire for radical change. Louis tried to navigate the turbulent waters, but his attempts at reform were often seen as too little, too late. He and his queen, Marie Antoinette, became symbols of the excesses of the old regime, further fueling revolutionary fervor. In 1792, France declared itself a republic, effectively abolishing the monarchy. Louis XVI was arrested, put on trial for treason, and found guilty. On January 21, 1793, he faced the guillotine, marking the first time in European history that a reigning monarch was executed by their own people during a revolution. Louis XVI's life was one of great promise, marked by the prestige and privilege of monarchy. His reign serves as a cautionary tale of the challenges that await leaders who find themselves at the helm of a nation in crisis, with success and tragedy often hanging in the balance. In the end, Louis XVI's legacy is a reminder that leadership requires not only privilege and power, but also the ability to adapt to changing times and meet the needs of a nation in turmoil. This was the end of 4 conquerors, each meeting a distinct fate. Louis XVI of France faced the guillotine during the French Revolution. Cleopatra VII of Egypt chose the bite of an asp to control her destiny. Henry VI of England met a mysterious death amidst the Wars of the Roses. Oda Nobunaga of Japan confronted betrayal and chose self-immolation. In their diverse journeys, they shared an unyielding thirst for power and conquest, leaving indelible marks on history.